Hello, my name is Tom. You know what the situation is and you know what the deal is. It's Sunday, which means my Starfield Saturday stream is a little bit later than it should be. 6 hours. 6 hours later. Or rather, 7 hours later, if I go by the time of the furthest west of the prime meridian. I'm going to go by that time for this specific tardy stream. Breaking news. 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall was shot on Geary Street uh, near the cable car turnaround, Union Square area, old steakhouse, Irish pub. Um, got shot in the chest and is expected for week one. Like a fucking champ. That's a wide receiver, man. It's a wide receiver catching bullets to the chest, coming back a week later. You know who won't be able to do that? It's Travis. Travis fucking Kelsey of the fucking Chiefs. All of the Chiefs. Fuck you guys. I don't actually have anything against MS people. I have no reason to have anything against MS people. I just don't agree with their right to cheat clearly in the Super Bowl, which is not a popular opinion. But I don't see how they could have beaten 49ers. I just don't see it. I don't care. I will die on that hill. Beyond that, Brandon Ayuk signed the contract, front-loaded contract with $47 million in the first year, which is bananas. Fucking bananas. That's great. Good for him. I mean, kind of good for him. I mean, good for him. Man, that's a lot of money. We still haven't signed Trent Williams. He's just looking for a guarantee for the last 3 years, I assume, according to what's being reported, as opposed to having floating money. Either way, good for Brandon Ayuk. Good for the Niners, really, because you got him locked in for 4 years, which is great. We do have to worry about, as fans of the Niners, not a member of the organization, uh, got to worry about what's going on with Brock. Although this year he's got a ridiculous number of receivers. He's got a receiving core that can fucking take bullets to the chest to come back next week. Uh, what the fuck? Uh, I will be playing Starfield. Didn't have something was going on last week. There was a driver update that needed to be downloaded and needed to be taken to in order to keep up with the fucking Starfield update. I don't know what's going on with that thing. But if you remember correctly, there were some issues with the graphics generation for the previous year's work. Or rather the previous game or previous updates work. So I tested it after the stream yesterday or after the stream last Saturday, and the graphics were generated perfectly fine. What else you got to say to me besides nope? What else do I have to say to you? Probably nothing, I suppose, right? Let's see if the game's going to play the way it's supposed to. Looks good. Looks good to me, man. I like this new suit. This new suit's better than the other one. Who's listening?
Ever wonder how the Crimson Fleet seems to be everywhere? It's because they have...
Yeah, looks good. I hate to make light of the fact that a 49ers wide receiver got shot in the chest, but that is the most man story of all time. According to reports, he was out in downtown San Francisco. I would call it Union Square. It's just like around the corner from Union Square. Short on Geary Street where you catch 38. Although I think in that area the 38 doesn't run. You've got to go up to like, what you call it? I forget the name of the street. You got to go a couple streets up to catch it up there. But he's, according to the story, he was down there, and a 17-year-old kid from Tracy, California, bumfuck ass nowhere, out in fucking Alameda County, tried to rob him for his Rolex. Give me your watch. And Ricky Pearsall did not apparently give him his watch. He got fucking shot in the chest, man. What the fuck is that shit? Also, you can see the Twitter video. He looks a little shaken up. You know what he doesn't look? He's dead. Which is fucking bananas. I don't understand exactly how that would go down that way. What the fuck? Anyway, so I'm gonna be getting, just to give you guys a heads up, I'm gonna be getting into Elite Dangerous again. I think I've already mentioned this. But I'm slowly working my way towards a decision on exactly how it is I'm going to be going in. To give a reminder, the name logs is over. That story is done. So for those of you who were hoping that when I got back in, I would rejoin the... God damn it, it's garbage. I would be rejoining the previous... rejoining the previous players in this that I used to play with, or that used to help me think through some of the storylines that I was working into the name logs in the same fashion, by the same diegetic narrative. That will not be happening. It is a persistent universe game, or persistent world game. So I hope that, and it is my sincere hope, that for those of you that were reading it, you took a lot out of it in terms of, one, your ability to enjoy the game, and two, your I lost my train of thought midway through. I hope you took a lot out of it in terms of your ability to enjoy the game and sort of your way to see the universe that they created for us through any number of lenses that you may not have otherwise noticed. But I will definitely not re-enter this world to play in the cockpit as Cadence Main, who started off again, if you've read the intro, as my PlayStation commander under the call sign Half-Lock, who eventually migrated over to the PC side as Half L0CK. or as Coral named, with my original Elite Dangerous account on PC with a constant backdrop. Those two will, I hope, live on in the imaginations of everyone that has partaken in the reading of the story. And I would hope that you are all flying around looking over your shoulders to be sure that Cadence isn't there to randomly interdict you, just so she can fly around and stare at you with her guns drawn and not shoot you at all, just to fuck with your head. As a pilot within that universe. And Coral's somewhere out in the middle of space doing her own thing, conceiving of horrifying plots to subject everybody to. I think that is where they best belong in terms of the degree to which my efforts would have contributed to the imaginary of the universe. I will be coming back. Well, I'll be coming back in my life. But, yeah. If you have read the story and the intro, you will have taken in the thoughts that I've provided about the matter more fully than most. So I thank you for having done so. I have. I have succumbed not to any I'm not going to get involved in the pay-to-win debate that's going on within the Dangerous community right now. There's a reason for that, mostly because I don't necessarily see profit-making as a non-necessary survival tactic for corporate entities. That being the case, I have purchased the Type 8 previews and the MK2 previews because having to restart from the Sidewinder, I'm sure it's fine, it's whatever. I don't have an issue with doing so, but I mean, I'm honest with myself. No. So, I will be giving myself a bit of a head start in terms of the accumulation of resources, and I think that's probably a fair thing. There are going to be a bunch of noobs that are going to be getting into the game, hopefully, soon, which will give the gankers a bunch of fresh meat, which will give the PvP the power play folks and the BGS folks a bunch of new minions to indoctrinate into the best way to play the game. There's this. So the game itself is entering an incredibly late game phase for anyone who's unaware. Thargoid War is a late game participation thing. You got to be pretty well stocked to be able to do what they would all need you to do on the Xeno combat side. Stocked with fucking ships, stocked with materials, stocked with weaponry. You're gonna have to do shit ton of engineering, all that stuff. Thousands upon thousands of hours of gaming that it would take you to get up to that. Probably get away with 500 if you're lucky. If you really focus on any given thing and any given build. For those of you who like playing the game because you like playing the game, like I do, you could eventually stumble to where you need to do this specific late game thing. I don't want to do that. Xeno combat's never been like my huge issue or my huge like. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pause this conversation with you just a moment.
I'm not afraid to use this to defend my home and my family. But you sure as hell don't look like any spacer I've seen before. So let me get this straight. You heard a distress call and you flew all the way down here. What are you, some sort of priest or good Samaritan? I didn't know people like you were real, but I got a heap load of problems. And I'm willing to pay my share for the help.
For that.
Couldn't we all, right? Used to be 4 families that list helped set up stakes in this system. We rarely saw eye to eye in the best of times, and believe me, True, these ain't the best of times. Spacers started raiding, and it's been getting... Unless... No arguments here. The Spacers have taken out the families. You fixed the Lopez... It might be I'm getting caught up in the moment, but I actually feel... optimistic for once. Thanks.
So, I forgot where I was in that part. Something about not wanting to have to grind all the way up to pick up 50 other extra 80 million to 100 million credits to pick up Python MK2 and the Type 8. In addition to all the other ships that I'm going to pick up, Starfield Saturday, of course, being one. Standard Python. We're going to pick up this new Mandalay if possible. We're going to do any number of things. But that saves me an hour and a half, maybe 2 to 3 hours per account of trading or mining or any of the other main grinds in the game to get myself those 2 ships. It also gives me a slight head start in terms of getting back into the game to the point where I can do things like trade for 30 million credits, 15 million credits per leg. So I don't believe that this decision on the part of Frontier is a particularly poor decision to start making certain items pay to play, or rather pay to participate in a given manner. Now, for those of you who have picked up the Python MK2 and Type 8, you will know immediately that, I mean, like any other ship that you buy, straight out of the fucking shipyard, it's fucking trash, man. I think the rest of us should be honest with ourselves when we have that debate about the play to win that is popular amongst like iOS gamers and like mobile games. It is not that. when it comes to being able to buy these ships. They're still fucking garbage. You're not going to game people with a fucking Python MK2 with two fucking 1F fucking 2 1F lasers, pulse lasers, whatever the fuck they're called. It's just not gonna happen. But again, it saves you a little bit of grind. The credit grind is sort of what it is. When I first picked up that carrier at the end of Season 1. I was a fucking zombie. I gave it a gaming session. 8-hour gaming sessions. Just fucking back and forth from like one location to the next. Picking up fucking silver and fucking cobalt. Fucking whatever it was that was like super cheap. And then flying right to the next location. And then selling it at like a ridiculous profit that you can find if you're not to find it. Which are not necessarily available. But it's just a lot of hours of fucking gaming. And for a noob that's going to be getting in to a persistent world game that is very, very late game for a lot of players, I don't see it as particularly disrespectful to what they've been doing. To be like, here, you're probably going to need a little bit of a chance to do like anything at all. So take these things and work with them. I'm already running missions to try to get myself into a position where I can get in the way that I would like to. Prepping myself, taking videos, through this, that, and the other. But holy hell, man! Like, I forgot like how futile playing that game is when you're like right at the beginning. I haven't played I haven't played the game in that way since I was running with like the gankers on the PS side right at the very beginning, and just not like shit just was not. It's just not as fun to like lose all the time in that way, and that's like playing. I'm just running missions right now with space lights and a little bit of flying, but it's just a very different experience to be going in there without the amount of experience, or rather in-game rewards for hours played after having restarted. You delete your account, you restart, like I did. But I did so like communicating to the developers like what I was doing. I was like, hey, I asked if I could do a couple of different things. I asked if I could like delete all the stats in ships and then leave me with like the same character faces so that maybe I could get in with like Cadence and Coral doing a completely different thing. And they were like, we can't do that. I was like, all right. I asked if I could keep the stats and maybe lose the ships, and then I could maybe get in there in a very specific way. And they're like, we can't do that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna hold off for now. And they were like, that's cool, but you should know that like you deleted the account like a couple months ago, and it usually takes around this much time for the shit to be wiped off the servers. So you might, maybe want to get in there now if you're gonna do it. And I was like, well, I mean, I deleted it on purpose. Like, I didn't accidentally delete it. I didn't get hacked. My computer didn't get hacked into, and some asshole deleted my thing. And they're like, well,
hello.
they didn't say anything actually after that, but they were just like, yeah, well, it's gonna, you'll be here soon. Wait, what? What?
Now it's gonna take some time. I don't suppose you want to.
So I just decided to get back in there. So I restarted the characters, or redid some of the characters. Decided to change the character avatars, depending on how I feel about while I'm playing. When I got back in, I reserved the names again. So I'll still be coming back in there as half Lock and half L0CK. In case you didn't know that, uh, that's me, by the way. Uh, so there are rules apparently about the gaming communities, or rather Frontier Developments, not wanting you to reveal personal information about yourself. So no real names, no real faces, no locations, this, that, and the other. That's perfectly fine. Like, I understand, it's a very good rule for a gaming company to have. Uh, that doesn't really do you any good, and also it doesn't really apply to the entirety of the streaming world who does their thing. Uh, so you could call that like Milos Aporius of the gaming and streaming industry. Uh, that's like a sort of a shallow, low-rent thing to be using the term authority for, so I'm not going to use it in that sense. At the end of the day, I don't have any reason not to discuss what it is that I'm doing. It's not a huge issue. Not a major streaming property. I don't really abide by like the rules of streamers. Kind of makes sense to me a lot. Also, like, I don't be hugely secretive in a situation where sometimes secrets are important. The secrets themselves are enough to limit the depths of something having to be dealt with. It's like a spycraft thing I learned in a documentary about this guy. So yeah, I am half-lock. I've always been a half-lock here in the gamers. At one point I was playing under my previous PlayStation account name, which was, come on buddy, they took my mill, which was a reference to that Obama crying over spilled milk joke. And when I decided to bind, I've already explained this. When I decided to bind all of my accounts to a single, I went with Half-Lock because that was the one I was already using for Elite Dangerous, and that that's the game that got me back into video games, for lack of a better term. Like with any seriousness, as like a thing to do and occupy my time. Camilo is gonna watch this or hear of this and be like, I fucking hate the console video games. And we should be practicing this fucking guitar and saxophone. And he's right. He's right. But I don't have any of those things right now. So I won't do those things. Because I don't have them. But I will be getting back into Elite Dangerous, long story short, as Half-Lock and half L0CK. I don't know if I will be doing live streams of my in-game stuff that I was doing towards the end, and sort of towards the, while the project was running. The name logs. I don't see any real reason to. I don't see any reason not to, but I just don't see a reason to. I still do have my PlayStation account, which is also still half-locked. And as I have not had access to the PlayStation, that will still be. I mean, the fucking avatar is still going to be Callie for anyone who's read the story. I may decide not to change that. That might be just a fun thing to have for like novelty's sake. And because PlayStation is no longer part of the same game server, there will be no cross contamination of the name logs characters and
Lopez to Banda.
the current
Banda, you
incarnation of the servers. I am still. Trying to focus on Starfield while explaining this.
You got the satellites back up? That helps. Big help from
I may decide to go back into the games on my PlayStation every once in a while because it's just way more fun to be able to fly ships that are
We have to meet
like
all the families.
fucking engineered
Gonna love that.
and fast. And have all the weapons you would need to like do the things you would need to do to just fuck it out.
It's ancient history. We all need to get over it.
Oh, man.
See you soon. Alright. Connection closed. And it's gonna be
Yeah, it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna take a little while to get back to like what I need to get to be able to do anything significant. But I like the idea that there are also going to be a bunch of like boots that are going to be coming for PP2, or at least I hope that they're going to be attracting new players. Juicy meat bounties. But also because it's a big game. I think that people should play the game, although a lot of you guys fucking suck. You still suck. Sorry, a lot of you guys just suck. Just like it's people. I'm not sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm sorry that the world has to be the way that it is, that we all have to deal with people. And in order to contribute to the type of world that I want to see in the future, I will do my best to not participate because I want less of it. Sorry, man, that's just the way the game goes. As the phrase goes. As you can see, I still don't like flying an MK. It's nothing garbage. But that will be alleviated prior to my getting into the game. Oh, that's another thing. I'm playing solo right now. And there are a group of gamers with whom I've made my acquaintance previously. There was that guy Infected. There was Pablo Farshot 15. What's his name? Fucking.
Glad to hear your voice.
Listen.
They beat my meat or they took my meat or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. Something about meat. There's a bunch of PlayStation guys who played for that group, what I call it, Smiling Dog Group, who had a very specific objection to playing the game solo, playing the game in group, privately, due to the nature of the BGS being one that both the private group and the solo all have effects on the open BGS. And there's a valid argument. I don't disagree with their reasoning about how to play the game fairly. Or rather, at least for the group type gamers, the fucking folks that like make that is not what I'm trying to do. The folks that are playing the game for the BGS, the power play, there should be some counterbalancing the possibility that these folks can get into the game play without having to deal with the possibility of getting ganked, without the possibility of PvP, without combat.
This is our savior, huh?
In a game in which
It's
combat
supposed to
is
be
a very
something
specific
useful.
element of
Charming as ever. First things
the
first, I'm
advancement
pretty
of
sure the
certain
spacers
powers
got the win.
aims within the game.
No contact.
Uh,
All
although
of them?
it is what it is.
My
I
God.
generally
Shit.
They were good
have made a
people.
point to play them.
They died. Needless.
Mostly after
Because we
those
couldn't get our
conversations
act
that I had with infected.
That's rich
Because
coming
what
from
the fuck?
you. You scammed me time and time again, Albin.
The spacers are a threat
One,
to
it's a
us all,
superior
Jack.
argument with regard to
And
like
that
maintaining
is
the
the salient
diegetic.
point. Mistakes were made. We need to get past that.
What do they call it?
Proposing is a mutual defense pact. Nothing
Diegetic
else.
consistency and
Each
coherence
of us throws in our
of the
ships,
game
men,
and the
materials,
universe
and
itself.
whatnot.
I
enough
say
to
that
protect all of our asses.
unironically,
I wouldn't give
knowing
you one
full well
solitary
what the
ounce
Smiling
of
Dog
helium-3
crew did
if
ingenious
I think we all need
video
to cool
game
off.
evil chicanery.
Stranger, word.
It's epic. Let's be honest with ourselves. If anyone who knows anything about the story, I mean, it's not as evil as getting in and tricking a bunch of kids into, going on a mining vessel and essentially keeping them from ever leaving by ganking them if they try to leave, and then just forcing them to mine all day long, which is also hilariously evil gaming chicanery. And it's not swatting somebody so that the cops show up at their house and the guy has no idea what's going on, and then he gets shot by the cops, which is something that happens in other games. It's just sort of funny. But it's, again, a superior argument, and it makes way more sense in terms of like the way the persistent world works in this specific game, that folks that have a real expectation to have to do combat to succeed within their given power, within their given BGS, to not be comfortable with folks who don't have to do combat, but still aim to have a very specific effect on the game, not being accessible within the game, thereby giving them a relatively unfair advantage in terms of their ability to succeed. The way that the power play was structured at the time that I learned about it, it was very, very diegetically coherent. Aisling herself, or Aisling's power play folks, don't have to do combat. A lot of them didn't. A lot of them didn't do PvP. And that makes a lot of sense from within the gaming community. So the kids don't want to do PvP, they go to Aisling, they learn how to play a very specific way. And if it's not necessarily just kids, and if someone else who happens to play combat centered goes in and fucks them up, someone from the other wings of the Imperial community will potentially come in and protect them. Denton is the military guy. What's her face? Elvis is the Emperor, so they both have very combat-centric gaming styles. It's just a thing. It just makes sense from within the game's diegesis. I don't have any objection to the way they had it designed. But I respect the argument that sort of regardless of who it is you choose to be playing around, play the game the way that everybody else has to win. Just is what it is. That being the case, I'm going to solo now for the very specific reasons I've just enunciated, which is that I don't have the combat capability.
First things first. You did an honest
Not
day's
necessarily
work, you
skill
deserve
based,
an
though,
honest day's pay. Here,
just fucking
with heartfelt compliments. But I expect you know what's
engineering,
coming next.
weaponry.
We're
this,
not
and the other.
military folk, and I'm not ashamed to say we are out of our depth.
It might
Pay
be
you more,
hypocritical
much
for me to
more.
do so.
You
I
can
might
help
have to
keep
rethink
the spacers
that.
out of our system for good, and coordinate our efforts to
We'll
do
see.
so.
I play with a lot of gankers. Here's the issue.
Right you are.
I mean,
So we're
I'll
not
think of
babes
it.
in the woods. Each family has a ship or two and heart. But the root of the problem, my family was here. Might be I knew, but now we need. I wouldn't hold my breath. We need to go as our new mercy. America. If she's a lost cause.
Maybe I'll think through it and maybe I'll play it over. Although I can already feel the gankers sitting there laughing and just waiting for me to make that decision. And looking for that juicy bounty. I mean, again, for a lot of the new players, the world of the gankers can make things incredibly.
Just so you know, Albin is a con man, and associating with the likes of him reflects
highly
poorly on your
disincentivize
character.
continuing playing the game. So I don't necessarily begrudge you the need to.
When my crew first arrived, Albin was all charm and eager to deal. It seemed like the start of a fruitful relationship. But quickly it became clear that he was grifting us. Machines we bought broke down, shipments he hauled for us went missing, and help he promised never materialized. I swore I'd never work with him again.
Capabilities and resources
He's lucky I'm not a vengeful woman.
That does not exist in, say, these like MOBA games. I've been told that like World of Warcraft is indeed the type of game where you can start the game immediately, and then find yourself like staring at a dude who's as far late game as can be.
Might be I misjudged. So here's the deal. Odds are, if we're gonna band together, the smart play for my All right.
We band together. Not only
play the game the way you want to play it, so that you enjoy it.
Hello, stranger.
Really the only thing that I
Your work in getting the satellites up,
in terms of
you've
like,
done us a good turn.
I know philosophy. Like
you here to talk about the defense pack?
Infected and Smiling Doctor argument be the case. It's not exactly intellectually consistent for the Smiling Doctor to make an argument like that, and then in real life deceive people in order to sneak themselves into the Mobius server, and then begin to do PvP in a server that expressly forbids PvP, after having already deceived them into doing so. There's just, play the game the way you want to play it and try to enjoy it. It's a video game.
We still talking?
And you can think it through as much as you can. You can like intellectualize. Again, I think I've discussed the fact that there's like a huge body of research on the game.
I figured he might. I mean, I agree. It's hard to imagine.
Wait.
Not much of a choice, really. Well, it's not much, but
on game, and
so is the defense pact in business? Come on.
I mean, there's mathematical games here, but there's also like playing and gaming and fucking video games on the whole.
You convinced Jackie?
I don't want to intellectualize my experience in the game.
How in the hell did you manage that?
I don't want to intellectualize my imagination.
I guess there's no need to know how the sausage gets made.
And just be left without like any sense of wonder at the natural world.
The sensors have picked up 2 contact groups. Undoubtedly our spacer friends.
Or the unknown.
We don't have many ships, but we can send them with you. Or hold them in.
Like I do.
After you deal with the spacers, meet back on my... I've got an idea how to...
Prefer to look into the sciences for a number of things. And with the sciences comes the lack of wonder. Because things are just going to be known to a certain extent. But like, at the same time, a game like Elite Dangerous sort of puts most people in a position of wonder, which is being in space. You can fucking read all the books and do all the math you want. Unless you're like one of fucking 8 dudes ever at any given time. You're just not going to know what it's like to be in space. And that's just like, that's okay. That's a weird way to say that. It's an okay thing to not know certain things. And not be curious enough to pursue the degree of ignorance you need to explore that specific thing, while still wondering about it. That's sort of the nature of reading fiction. Reading fiction, having science fiction, having fantasies, and watching movies, anything that isn't your direct daily experience. Some people are not into that shit, some people are. If you're not, don't worry about it. If you are, then be about that shit. Some people are viewers, and they make things happen and whatnot. You know exactly what some people just don't give a shit. I mean, you guys want to know what I'm dealing with? Like, no scientifically though? I expect most of you on the wrong. So, like, I feel like the discussion should end there in terms of competitive aspect of knowing things should not. What do you really want to know? Have the granular experiential knowledge of what another person is dealing with from within their own scientific perspective or political perspective. Is what it is. That seems cryptic if you've never heard a word I've said. For those of you who know, it's pretty easy to explain. What it is that you would have to do, and you have to have allowed, or would have had to have allowed done to be in that position. So, and you should imagine is the best way for me to put that. I don't want you to know most of these things. This is an incredibly random stream thus far. I've covered pretty much a good set of bases. I should have. This shit. Things that I haven't discussed. Anyway, so in accordance with the last stream, not this stream, the last Frontier developments. I'm not going to do a shit ton of time. I'm just going to recall what came over to me. Frontier Developments has its group of streamers that they work with, who are members of the Partners Program. There's the Burpid, there's City Man, there's the Galnet folks, there are a bunch of folks that they work with directly, who have a far better, far more intensive interest in like video games on the whole, and getting you the journalistic news about what's going on. So I would highly suggest you look into those for news sources. I'm excited about the fact that there's the new ship, Mandalay, which is like their new. It's going to be a new mid-size exploration ship. I'm a little confused as to why they would go with another mid-size exploration ship, as for the most part, the entirety of their exploration ship models have been mid-sized. There haven't been more details, or rather enough details about the type of ship. In terms of like hard points, speed, size of the mods, size of the modules, to determine, for me to like determine whether or not it's going to be superior exploration ships like the Asp Explorer. A lot of people explore with the Anaconda because it gets them like a shit ton of fucking. It provides apparently what they believe is to be a superior jump range. I've found that my Asp Explorers, Galileo and Keystone, provided essentially everything I would need within those builds to do any exploring. I haven't done a shit ton of exploring. Beyond a couple trips to Colombia, a couple trips to a couple other nebulas. There are other people that are specialists in these fields who would have different opinions. And if you were looking for that specific thing, I would highly suggest you look to their build suggestions. I don't have any of my builds written down and printed out, so all of the builds from the previous incarnation of my half-block and FL0CK are either gone or currently on my PlayStation account, which is currently not available to me. So you'll have to look over that. Or you'll have to look over to their stream track. That's a better way to put that. For those that are looking for...
Glad to hear you're back, safe and sound. Banda, you owe me 30 credits.
You're tougher than I thought.
Easy money. So while you were doing that, I used the communication satellites to triangulate some spacers' chatter.
You did what?
I'm more than just a pretty face. Anyway, there's an old derelict star station the spacers are using as a base. Couldn't say it better, there are
We need to excise this.
100% agree. This is it. We need to bring we'll all be waiting.
A place to chill or to find like very specific tidbits of information about odds and ends. I can get you started on any number of these really dangerous builds. I can get you started on sort of the early game and mid game grinds and techniques. I can probably get you into a good position to do some PvP. And then I can get you going and get you out of my way. Or you can just kick back and enjoy your time. Every once in a while I will throw someone else's blog or somebody else's stream into my community post to let everyone know that this person's work is going to get you something that you were going to be looking for. I have zero objection to making sure that somebody is exposed for what they're doing right, or rather in a way that I find to be particularly well suited to what someone is going to be looking to do. It's nothing personal. It is strictly business. My support for your efforts does not constitute interest in music. Necessary. It's not necessary. What the fuck? For the most part, I will be posting videos or possibly doing stream footage on the Commander Half-Life. It will be a creative enterprise entirely in terms of my exposure. I just don't have any creative making like investing up into the video game in general. I want to address rumors that have presented themselves to me continuously about being a researcher, doing my research, and using my video game experience as like a vehicle for like Communist Manifesto, which I think is like what the idea is. I don't understand. I don't particularly get what's happening. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That's not happening. That's like not a thing. Yeah, man. Like, I don't know where that came from. I mean, I can surmise, like, people get confused sometimes, and I do actually have, like, a background education in, like, the...
Hello.
In the social and political and cultural studies and sciences. Like, that's a real thing. And like, as a San Franciscan native, like, there is like a healthy regard for the idea that politics is sort of infused within everything. So like, every decision a person makes is going to be political in some sense or another. But like, the idea, the idea that this is a very, the main logs was like this political treatise on, I don't know what it would have been a political treatise on, because there's nothing in there that would be inherently political beyond like me just sort of buffooning the entirety of the nature of politics. I mean, it's a fucking satire. Like, I don't know what else you think a satire is, but like an observation. Let's put some clothes on you. But like an observation of the world around you. I mean, even then, I don't know what. It's hard to address rumors that don't make any sense. You know? I'm sure some of you guys understand that. Like, there's just a certain degree of, I wish I could tell you why people think the way they think, but to be perfectly honest, they're all still very confusing to me, even in their ability to somehow stitch together like what could reasonably be assumed to be a valid argument, or at least a sound argument, in the face of its, in the face value of its validity. Really not much to. I feel like I shouldn't have to discuss why it is that as long as they believe I was drinking a milk white shake, or a white colored milkshake, that, you know, I'd rather drink cum than anything else. That should, like, a lot of that stuff just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it makes sense in terms of its being face valid, and not in the psychological sense. Just like it's a valid argument on its face, and it's also not at all. It's also kind of dumb, and shouldn't be taken as anything but, especially for the most part, because a lot of the time, the types of arguments are satirical. Sort of losing the observation about the top of the alarm in general. I don't want to be the guy that keeps you from knowing about the fact that there are things that are happening that are sort of dumb, and agreeably dumb to a great many. It doesn't help that like we're all using those things to make each other laugh and to each other as well. But nevertheless, it doesn't hurt as much. money. Came with an oven. Oh, again? That's how I'm gonna do it, by the way. When like the rogue SEAL team tries to come to get me for like the political asylum thing, I'm just gonna throw an elbow while they're trying to talk to me. They're gonna be like, just I'm like, yeah, I'm terrified. That's what I should be. So like, you know, just to let you know. Man, that's pretty good cage.
Just need time.
Oh! Ran out of ammo. Oh man, that is a lucky dude. Shotgun it is. I don't remember if I'm still talking about Elite Dangerous. I mean, I kind of am. Yeah. So, yeah. There was some talk. Probably coming from the fucking new school. Fucking new school. Douchebags. Fucking douchebags. God, I fucking hate them. God, they're the worst, man. They're just the fucking worst. They're like, they're daytime TV the worst. I mean that with all my heart. I applied for graduate school at the new school. So I'm a graduate of the new school, Eugene Lang College. I have a background in political sciences, political thought. Cultural studies, cultural sciences, psychology, social psychology, and social thought, or societal studies. Social studies is I don't know why in college they divide all these things up into like these millions of fucking categories. My interest is the study of society and human politics and how humans get together and do whatever dumb shit they decide to do based on whatever it is they believe, whatever it is they think is necessary for themselves to do whatever it is they want to do. I've got a degree in everything. Graduated from college. So the fucking douchebags at the fucking new school, who to this day refer to me as Steve, because it's cute. It's just like a fucking. They would prefer to protect people's privacy, which is dumb. Which is like a dumb way to do it. God, I fucking hate you guys. You wouldn't believe. Fucking idiots. Fucking. Anyways, oh my god. Anyway, so I applied for graduate school, and this is, I was hoping I could confirm that information as well, which I did, and also in applying for graduate school there, sort of make it clear that like we're all on the same page as to what's happening right now. Let's like make this not the dumbest shit ever. And they were like, nah, I feel like this needs to be hella more dumb and hella more degrading to your personality. or into your person. I was like, thanks guys. Fucking solid political decision making. So as part of my application process, they ask you to make a statement of intent, which I did. So in that statement of intent, which you can find on my academia page, I discussed the name logs, as a matter of fact. I talked about doing a story, doing this, that, and the other, and looking to make use of my interest in the game and my interest in making music and videos as a vehicle for a digital storytelling degree. So seeing as how I would not be able to profit on anything that I've been making in school for the time being, I don't have any more fucking ammo. I don't need to pick up some ammo. In lieu of doing anything that would force me into the highly competitive New York and Manhattan industry, the world of business, which I have experience with, but would be completely meaningless in a situation where I'm now playing by college rules. Like way later than I should have been, considering the fact that I should have been able to get right back into the market. Come on. Oh, you son of a bitch. I mentioned that I would like to make use of the name logs as a vehicle for continued exploration of video production and sound editing. So essentially what I was doing with the name logs. What I ended up doing with the name logs for 3309 and for 3310 would have been what I was doing while at the music. I was not at the musical while I was listening, which means I just did them. And didn't even get any fucking college credit for it. I'm actually bleeding. Through some, I want to say miracle of modern science, because I know that's not the right term, but it is so apropos for the degree of political chicanery that would have needed to have been involved for it to work out the way it did. The story became a vehicle for my parodying of transgender community, apparently, is the current leading theory. I want to say you couldn't make this stuff up because people really have their heart set out on that being true. But one, you can make that stuff up about a person. And two, it's politically expedient to make shit up about people like that, which one is super unfortunate, that it becomes politically expedient to produce somebody into a hateful person so that you can benefit with political capital based on that person's being known to be a hateful person. It's kind of sad and sort of says a lot about American politics. And politics in general, it's not exclusive to America, at least. But just doesn't, I don't understand how that story and my efforts with the name logs just became that. It just doesn't even make sense. I mean, it's sort of silly in one sense to believe that, I personally, me personally, who is simultaneously disregarded in many ways for being super lazy. Wouldn't have put that much effort into creating a fiction and putting that much of like any latent abilities that I've had sitting around for God knows how long into the effort of parodying GLBTQ. Sort of a strangely inconsistent sort of pretzeling of what's already in there, try to make a very specific public opinion into a real thing. It's also sort of insulting that you would think I would put that much effort into that. Like of all the things that I'd be satiring politically in the situation that I currently am. Like, seriously. The fuck? I mean, really. I don't even have to say anything that I don't have to say. It's just like a really sort of silly gesture. But people believe it. We're currently desperate to have some politically valid beliefs, at least face valid beliefs. We seem to be true. In order to valorize and validate their beliefs, whatever they may be, or to legitimate their actions. I need to kill that guy before he hits me with another fucking shot. So yeah, just confirming. No. The fuck were you thinking? In terms of the main legs being a vehicle, it was indeed a vehicle for my continued exploration of the practice of video editing, the practice of digital narrative production, and any creative expression. There are going to be cultural studies teachers and literary analysis, like some who are going to say that art is an extension and expression of the political realities and cultural norms of the time. So whatever you say about what you're doing bounces off of me and sticks to the giant glue trap that I put in. So I wouldn't say that specifically. That's essentially to a certain extent, it is. The name loss is indeed, to a certain extent, an expression of the times in the world. It is a parody. That was written by a guy who, like many in my community and in my what I would tentatively refer to as the worldview and general means to communicate. Don't ever speak to me. Would understand as humor full stop. There is a certain degree of humor that I generally aim to approach and involve in my satire. You son of a... He's got bleed on his gun. There are some folks in particular who that's a shit grenade. We just don't see humor situations. To a certain extent, I envy for your ability to maintain a degree of severity in your public dispensation. I too was at one point a student of the philosophy of Stoicism. But then I came to realize that Stoicism was the philosophy of those in power. So basically it was a bunch of rich guys and powerful men. Never had any real never experienced any particular threat to their day-to-day existences. And the ability to maintain, the ability to maintain the stoic severity of their demeanor against others. I should place a caveat on that assessment of Stoicism. Not all men. Only some. Anyway, yeah. So, if you are still wondering why it is I would put the effort into making use of the Elite Dangerous universe as a vehicle for the parodying and the satirical disgracing of the transgender community. I pose you another question, which is, how do you keep a moron in suspense? I'll let you think on that.
This is the first deep breath I've taken in months. I make no illusions. You did this, and now it's up to us to keep it going. Very diplomatic. The rest of the families, I know it's probably, but don't you dare. If you ever...
What's happening? Something's happening in the game. I feel like I addressed that to the best that it would need to be, which is that I have no answer to your political demands because they are... I want to believe that they're facetious and that you're facetiously making an argument about what the name logs are and about my efforts. And because nobody needs to believe that you're serious when it comes to your accusations of what I'm doing by making these people's intellectual property into a vehicle, which I have repeatedly stated, by the way, would at best be a derivative intellectual property that is jointly owned by myself and the company. Man. Since nobody needs to believe that you're serious about those accusations, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a pass and move right along to my next venture, which is still playing the game because I enjoy playing the game. Wait, I don't want to take that. I'll keep that. Bridger, that's what they're called. Those are all relatively nice ones. Now, again, the main logs is done. The tetralogy is still currently posted to the Frontier forums, and it'll be there as long as it's there. I know the English people will probably tax me to keep it up there and charge me at the request of fucking the English community. It is what it is, man. Fuck. Sort by damage. That's decent. I don't remember what I was talking about when I got caught up in my quest for the perfect gun setup. Anyway, so fuck the new school, for one. Just cause fuck you, at this point. That they would even. I'm a graduate of the new school. I'm not even, like, disallowing myself from reminding everybody of the fact that fuck them. But you should go there if you want a very specific education. This very much is the Big Poppy sketch of the world. Like, they'll test you in ways that you would not have imagined. And then they'll test you afterwards, like, all the time. Like, I mean, really, like, what the fuck? I went to Eugene Lang. So Eugene Lang is the school where they teach you how to think, oddly enough. They will teach you the ways that are required to think. And not just, like, logically valid thinking. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So, there is a horrifying tale of death that occurred recently here in Italy. And it's a very sad story. Honest to God, like, it's sort of a sad thing that happened. I'm sure there are some folks who are, like, good, which is terrible, but understandable, I suppose. So there's, like, a tech, super rich dude who passed away recently on a ship that sank just off the coast of Sicily. And this is what's being covered in the media, so I am sure there is more to the story than what we are being told. Much of which we'll never know about because, again, it is a horrifying story of someone dying. An entire family, almost, by the way. I'm not going to go into the details beyond a super rich tech guy was on his boat with his family and a bunch of other folks. And the boat got caught in a thunderstorm slash no, god damn it. A thunderstorm slash water spout. And sunk what the makers of the ship have called an unsinkable boat.
Unidentified ship.
So this unsinkable ship sank. And the name of the ship was Beige, which, for those of you who know anything about statistics, or where you would be aware of Bayesian probability, it's just one of those things, man. Wait, am I not supposed to be going over here? And there's not much more to the story than that, perfectly honest. Super rich guy, made his money off very specific type of tech business. He just recently got off charges of fraud. He was in a boat that was named after probabilities, a specific set of probabilities. That sank after being called an unsinkable ship. There's like a dark irony to that.
And that's it. Enjoy that Aquila City air.
That darkness. Sort of marks a lot of the humor in the name mods. For those of you who are aware of the extenuating circumstances, the what's going on in the world around you, if you're paying attention at all, that's just sort of what's there. That's what's in there. Just sort of parodying of like awful fucking shit. Hence my referring to it as a satire. There are some fucking people with whom I hold a deep disagreement, like fucking fundamental disagreement about certain specific things. If you were
by order of Marshal Daniel Blake, I need to inform you we've got some trouble at Gal Bank. Folks might be in danger, so you may want to steer clear. Good guess. You didn't hear this from me.
So, there is a movie by the name...
You know, I want to do your business quick. The Rangers plan on dropping by for an order soon. Well,
by the name of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. For those of you who've seen the movie, it's a fucking... how do I put this? It's a good movie, but at the same time, it's a horrible movie. It's a horrible movie in the same sense that $1 Million Baby is a horrible movie. That I recommend you never watch ever, other than the fact that you should watch it at the very least once. God, how do I, like... There's just fucking... Without giving away too much of the movie centers around a group of musicians who are one specific band. Who are all transgender. Now the movie itself, I'm gonna...
I'll say right up front that if you're short on how about I just show you instead of...
I'm trying to focus on my thoughts while selling off all this fucking bullshit. The movie is about a group of transgender people who are all part of a single band. The movie itself was made into a Broadway musical relatively recently. And there are those who see the Broadway musical to be some form of like positive message about transgender people and about their struggles. I have no comment on that. I just don't. I do have a comment on the idea that this movie was sort of the same deal. Again, I'm sure you do disagree with me. So, there are those that would argue that the movie is a beautiful example of the passion of artists and a story about
Take a look around.
persevering.
Feel free to look around.
And enduring the worst that life has to offer in order to see your vision come to fruition. And that's a wonderful, wonderful sentiment. I do not know what that has to do with the movie at all. It is a horrible movie about horrible people who happen to make decent stuff. I mean, it's really like there are arguments to be made in earnest and also in satirically that it's like the perfect movie for me. I'll give you that like half the time. However, so if you haven't seen the movie, again, it's a movie about musicians, transgender musicians, who are treating each other terribly. It's about, you know, their various personal disagreements. Fucking, oh, I should have to keep that. Personal disagreements, the various travails, failures and successes of a group of musicians, and one in particular, who are hoping to break it into the industry. The only thing I see when I watch the movie is like the degradation and like defilement of a single person, like the entire way through. It's just like fucking sadism, like all the way through. It's fucking awful. Sorry, I don't see any like the movie itself is fine. It's just I don't see the fucking like the redeeming fucking. If you've seen the movie Dancer in the Dark, starring Bjork, it's that. Like that's the movie. And there are some that will, I know for a fact that there are some that will argue, well, you know, how do you feel about Dancer in the Dark, Tom? And that's not an argument, that's a question. And I would say, well, Dancer in the Dark happens to be like this amazing and beautiful movie about a woman sacrificing everything, including her own life, to make sure that her son receives the thing that she believes her son will need, which is the gift of vision and the maintenance of her vision. Beyond that, it's a fucking terrible movie in terms of in the same way. Like it's a good movie, but in a horrible way. I think I just gave away the ending of Dancer in the Dark. Probably should have done that. Doesn't matter. No one's gonna be watching this stream. So, wait, hold on. I'm catching my own thoughts like in the middle of doing this multitasking. So yeah, so there's some that might argue that like it's the same. If I can recognize that it's the same sentiment and the same sort of deal in Dancer in the Dark and in Hedwig and the Angry Inch, why do I find Hedwig and the Angry Inch to be not as beautifully positive a message about human perseverance and the human spirit? Mostly because what it looks like is the type of shit, like it's the idea of Hedwig and the Angry Inch being a better, more positive measure of human sacrifice and a person's persevering to ensure the safety and sanctity of that which she's attempting to carry into term is mostly because it's about the music business and the type of shit and fucking defilement that people have to deal with in that business. Like, it's a shit business, man. There, you can look up the history of Detroit's rhythm and blues, fucking rhythm and blues industry, like the whole of it, and the types of essentially fucking slave contracts that people were tricked into signing. I mean, and this is not even talking like the celebrity side of what's going on there, which is essentially what which is essentially what Hedwig and the Angry Inch is about. Someone trying to persevere to get themselves, or to get themselves into that world of like celebrity rock star. Dancer in the Dark has a very specific context, I guess that's what that context being political and societal corruption of a small town in, I think it's Iceland. I don't know if the movie is still in Iceland or if it's like some other place, but it's essentially like the victimization, the already ongoing victimization of a fucking mother who is trying to make sure that her son doesn't lose his sight and doesn't lose his vision. You have to watch the movie. You should watch both, one after the other, and then you can come up with your own ideas as to why I'm the mean one, which I'm okay with, I guess, but like really sort of sets like a creates like an unrealistic standard of what it means to be nice. That's probably going to leave you with unrealistic expectations of how life is supposed to work out.
I'm sure things will turn out just fine.
Where was it? I don't have notes, so I'm just like freeballing and like raw dogging this conversation. It's not the right term for raw. I talked with Miss Casper.
Next stop wouldn't be the Thrifty system, would it? You got to report it with a stress call out there. We don't have the ships to send someone that far out.
In the very first stream where I discuss what I'm doing with the name box, I make reference to that when poorly read would produce the appearance that being a man writing from the first person perspective of a woman would necessarily mean that I am trying to live out my fantasies.
Take a gander.
I've explained this before. I will explain this one more time. What did I just do? Why did I buy a gun? Should I purchase that gun? God damn it. Oh, dude, why did I buy it? one might, if you don't know how to read, come to the conclusion that a man writing a fiction in the first-person perspective would, especially to like the fucking psychoanalysts, the expression of one's desires to be that thing. I don't subscribe to that. I don't discount the reality of writing as an experiential form of becoming. I say that again slowly so you guys get it and quit fucking nagging me about it. I don't believe that it is necessarily the case that a man writing from the first-person perspective of a girl must be understood as a subliminal cry to be recognized as someone attempting to live out and understand themselves to be a girl. However, I don't discount nor feel necessary to deprive the entirety of the world of the reality that writing can and very many times is a form of experiential becoming. The name logs, however, is not that. And I blame the new school for forgiving that understanding of it. Mostly because I'm going to quote them, the new school. It's cute to see people think that and demand that I have to abide by it. I don't think it's cute to treat people that are thinking that. Where am I at? Like, I want to do this mission right now. Mantis, mission Mantis, this mission. Track this last yet. Do this one. Wait, does he have more missions? If I have more missions, I'm gonna go see what I agree about missions. Unless I have fines, which I may have to deal with. I do not currently have fines. Again, this is not like a... I didn't take notes in preparation for this. This is like a raw dog of a raw dog in the stream right now. Just like spewing juice everywhere. I still have contraband kit. Why do I still have this shit? I saw this shit. I will have to dump shit into space. I will continue to blame everything on the Disco in case you weren't sure. hey man, it's fucking their fault. I have accounted for my actions, and in doing so, have exposed that they are far more believably capable of the things that I'm accusing them of than I capable of the things I would need to be capable of to accomplish the things I have been accused of at their pleasure and entertainment. I think that's fair. Why do I still have contraband? I got rid of my contraband.
Just who made that ship of yours? Looks like it could blow a Deimos right out of orbit.
Anyway, if you get the chance, or the opportunity, you should go to the new school and get a very, very solid education. I mean, they'll teach you to do what I just did to them.
You have a nice day now.
And then they'll teach you again and again and again and again. Alright, if there's a landry mission, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to close the stream. And this thing went off-road. It's off-road today.
Hey, I need to talk with you.
I got a new job for you, if you're... So chalk this one up to a very... I'm thinking common. You. Here's all the details. And thanks.
Alright, let's kill some spacers. To wrap this fucking shit up. And... Oh, fucking Christ. And then eventually... eventually I'll be back into doing this. Doing what I was really doing at the very, like, from the very beginning. Playing a video game that I enjoyed, and then doing something that was creative and not a disgracing of any given community, not a society. I don't know. No, I welcome those critiques. I honestly do, because it loads me up. That was a shorter mission I found, so.
Hey, I need to talk with you.
Kids mission. Dealing with you is the best part of... One pirate's unfortunate. This is great.
Alright, mission accomplished. Not in like the George Bush sense. This is just done. Stream's over. I will be back on Tuesday with Battletech Tuesdays. I still have black sand.